Hey guys, it's Mac here, and this is The Way to Play. I'm here today to give you a short tutorial on some of the basics of Kerbal Space Program. This episode is basically going to be how to get into an orbit. And we're going to be using Kerbal X, which is a stock thing, so you should be able to load it up. This isn't... next episode is going to be a little bit more about the staging and how to build a craft. And on my own channel, which I will provide a link below, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to get started, or some of the best ways to get started in 0.22, where they're going to be introducing research and development. So to actually get started to launch this thing, you want to click this green button, launch here. This is basically going to be a, hopefully an idiot-proof version. I'm not going to be talking about, any math or numbers behind any of this. It's just going to be very general. Okay, so now that you're here, you're going to want to press T. Now what T does activates what we call SAS, which helps you control the aircraft and will try to keep it straight. Next part, you want to hold Shift, which brings up your throttle. And this is your throttle right here. It's all the way at the top. And to actually get started on the rocket, you want to press spacebar. And when you press spacebar, it's going to activate this stage here. And it goes up each time you press spacebar. Now you can see all the engines are now on this stage here, but these are the clamps, so they're going to be next. So you probably want to press space twice pretty fast, just because these guys are here and you're going to be wasting fuel. Okay, so now that we did that, now you can see the way this rocket is designed is that when these two engines go, you're supposed to stage, so you want to keep an eye on this. And when these two engines run out of fuel, press spacebar and you eject them. And you'll do that for all the engines on the surrounding ones. And I believe you'll do that before you do any sort of maneuver. Now going up is not necessarily the only thing you need to do to get up into space. You also need to go out. Now the best way to go out is usually in that direction, or west. And all your controls are relative to the nav ball using WASD. So once we get up to past this blue area, which is about 13,000 meters, we're going to start heading to the west, which is this way on the nav ball. But we have to get up to that far first because it's less efficient to start your turn when you're in the thicker atmosphere because of drag. Now, a lot of people also say 10,000, but it really depends on the craft. And now that we're up to 13,000, we're going to start slowly turning our ship over, and we're going to probably leave it halfway between the very top mark and this mark here, just until we get to about that point there. Now, these aren't very strict rules. You can certainly do it differently. This is just a general way that will get you into space. Now that you hit that part, go all the way down to this mark. And then somewhere around here, you want to turn about halfway in between these two marks here. Now, at this point, you want to go into map mode by pressing M. Oh my god, that's a big orbit. So, and if you press X, you'll cut off all your throttle. Now, this part is the highest point of our trajectory. And if it's above about 70,000 meters, that is perfect. One way to make sure you'll get in orbit is to use maneuver node. And basically, you want to go faster in this direction. So you want to pull it that way. And now you have this other mark here where this is the lowest point of your orbit. If it's below 70,000 meters, then you're still going to be in the atmosphere. So you have to get that above 70,000 meters. So something like that. And it doesn't have to be exact. You're not trying to do anything fancy. Now what this maneuver mode does is that now you have this blue mark on your nav ball. This blue mark is where you need to be aimed to get to this orbit. So you want to move your marker over to the nav ball, or over to the blue mark on the nav ball. And And you see right here, estimated burn time is 28 seconds, and time till node is 1 minute 40-ish. Now, what you want to do is you want to time your burn so that half of it is before the node and half of it is after the node, because the way it calculates out how to do this is if you had an instantaneous velocity change at the node, but since that's impossible and we have engines, you have to go up to that speed. The best way to get it is halfway on either side of the node. Now, another important thing is that you have a time warp here. Once you're out of the atmosphere, you can use time warp without having any physics acceleration or anything like that. So the way you do this is you press you can either press that, or you can press period, and it's going to accelerate time. So here I'm going to want to get to about the 15-second mark. And to control this, you can use a period and comma. So I'm at 15-second mark. I'm going to turn up my engines, burn all the way. I'm just going to burn until this green bar goes all the way down. And it's not uncommon to see it's not always get down to 0.0, but if you're just wanting to get into orbit, then you're getting pretty close here. Now, see, I ran out of fuel on this engine, so I'm going to want to stage up. And then I can activate that engine. Now, because of that, the estimated burn time is now a lot longer, but we should be fine. You see, as I'm going faster, the orbit's getting wider and wider. It's because you're not necessarily trying to just get out into space. If you've just gotten out of space, you would land straight back in. But you also want to get some distance out there, so you have to get some acceleration. Okay, now I have a stable orbit. And from here, you can do, sort of anything you want, however you design your rocket. Now, this particular rocket could get to the moon, or MUN, as they call it in here, but it would not get back. So for the purpose of this, I'm gonna just accelerate till I get to the day side, and I'm gonna show you just basics of reentry. There's no deadly reentry or anything like that, so you shouldn't really have to worry about your parts being burnt up in the atmosphere. But there are some basics about parachutes that are good to note. So here, now if you see this green circle with the X through it, that's the opposite direction of where my rocket is currently accelerating towards. Or not really accelerating towards, but my current velocity vector. So if I burn that, I am now trying to slow down my speed. And you can see, now that I'm slowing down my speed, my orbit is coming in and in. And I'm currently going to hit the land, which is, be good to hit the land, I guess. So now I've done that, I can basically just ditch that stage. Now I just got this command module. Now, I'm just going to accelerate towards until I get in my atmosphere. Whee! Okay. So now, especially since there's no solar panels or anything like this, and you really don't need to have SAS on, so you could press T again. And you can activate the parachute. Now, the parachute won't actually deploy until it gets to, I believe, 25 or 20,000 meters. We'll see in a second. And even then, it's going to be semi-deployed. And then when it gets to 500 meters above the ground, it will fully deploy. But you can have it activated, and it will automatically deploy those altitudes, so you don't have to try to micromanage that. I'm just going to... When you have it like this, it's physics acceleration, which means that physics is being accelerated as well as time. The other way, it was just accelerating time, so physics had no effect over your ship. Now we get to watch these cool re-entry effects. And there you can see the chute deployed, or semi-deployed. Okay, And because the land here is above sea level, it actually activated around 900 meters. So it's relative to the ground. If the ground is higher than sea level, then the deployment altitude is going to be a little bit higher. So you don't really have to worry if the ground is higher if you're going to actually hit it, unless it's a gigantic mountain and you're going way too fast or something like that. But as you see here, the chute's deployed. We're going about 8 meters a second, which, you know, we're going to survive that. Just physics acceleration towards the ground. I mean, you see that the ground is definitely not at 0, which is why our parachute deployed at 900, because it's 400 meters off the ground. And that's the basics of getting into an orbit around Kerbal. Sometime soon I'll be putting up, you know, basic design elements of how to build a rocket and how to set up staging. And on my own channel, I am going to put up the video how to start basics of some good ways to start on 0.22 with the research and development station that's going to be coming up soon. But if you like the video, please press the like button. It helps us all. And until then, see you next time.